A new movie in theaters tells the story of a man's desperate struggle for survival. The movie is called 127 Hours and stars James Franco as mountain climber Aaron Ralston. You might have heard about this story. He gets his arm stuck underneath a rock and eventually has to make the terrible decision of cutting off his own arm to save his life. Malcolm Fleshner, who's a columnist and contributor for the Top Vlog on YouTube, made this interesting political analogy. The hiker is Obama, the Republicans are the immovable rock, and bipartisanship is the arm. So the question is, does Obama have to cut off his beloved bipartisanship arm, which is stuck under the Republican rock, to save his presidency? Which I think is a fair and excellent question. To help us discuss this, we bring in Ben Mankiewicz, who's a host at Turner Classic Movies and film critic for What the Flick. He joins me live from Burbank. Ben, what do you think? Does the analogy work?
Oh, definitely. I think that's what Danny Boyle was thinking of when he made the film. I don't know if the analogy works perfectly. It certainly was not an intended analogy, but as a metaphor, I think it works. I think it works pretty well. This notion that the rock, you can't move the rock. The rock has fallen. But I like the idea that Obama is still extending his arm. The rock is crushing his arm, but he's thinking, no, please. This is it. We'll work together. It's okay. You can crush my arm. And then in order to save his presidency, he has to sever his arm. So I think that what we're clearly saying is that Barack Obama has to cut off his arm in order to move his presidency forward.
Yes. And I like the idea that it's crushed and he's still trying to talk it out. Like, it's okay, Rock. It's okay. You can move now.
Yeah.
All right. Now, look, Ben,
the problem, Cenk, is that the Rock just doesn't understand. He can convince the Rock to move by just offering sort of tax cut after tax cut, and eventually the Rock will be like, all right, I'm going to roll off now.
I don't think that's going to work that way. But look, there's a downside to this, right? As you find out as watching the movie, as you did, that when you go to do something that's tough to look at, which includes saying, all right, I'm not going to be bipartisan anymore and I'm going to attack, it has a downside. Like, what happened? Did people get squeamish as they watched this?
Yeah, maybe the president doesn't want to recognize the situation because it's grotesque. And yes, I saw the film a couple of months ago at the Telluride Film Festival, and at the festival, a couple of people fainted during the movie. During the screening that I saw, streams of people, 30, 40, maybe 50 people walked out and passed me during the movie. They just thought, okay, I'm not going to watch a guy break his arm so that his pocket knife can cut through the bone and he can sever his arm. It was difficult for a lot of people to watch.
So, I'm going to ask you a political question now. I mean, do you think Obama's got it in him to cut the arm off? Or do you think he can't stomach those people leaving the movie theater? He's a politician. He's like, no, I can't do something that harsh. Which way do you think he's going to go?
I think the key is to recognize that cutting off the arm is the only way to survive. If the president sort of continues to think that, no, someone will rescue him, or eventually the rock will move, circumstances will cause the rock to move, there'll be a huge storm, there'll be a rainstorm as he dreams in the movie. But if you finally make the recognition that, oh, I'm going to die in a Utah ravine unless I sever my arm, well, then maybe he moves forward. But that decision has to be made before anybody would even think of cutting off a limb.
And real quick, Ben, as I think of all through the recent James Franco movies, can we keep these political analogies going for a whole week? Is there another one we can do?
Well, I don't know if milk is going to work. I'm not sure that's the kind of social issue that Democrats want to take. But James Franco, here's what we know about James Franco. I don't know whether James Franco is a liberal or a conservative, but very quickly, he's getting a master's in fine arts at Columbia. He's studied fiction at Brooklyn College, filmmaking at the Tisch School. He's taking poetry classes in North Carolina. He graduated from UCLA, and he's getting his PhD in English from Yale. All I can say is he's not a Jim DeMint kind of guy.
Yeah, no. Poetry classes, he's not a conservative.
Come on. Right. Yeah. No chance.
All right. Ben Mankiewicz, host of Turner Classic Movies. Thank you for joining us.